5:45. Let's get started. Call the meeting to order. We're going to skip the oath of office because the other two guys are not here to receive their oath. Any public input? Seeing as there's no public. Approval of minutes from the January meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Oh, you did give me a sheet. Good. I don't have to look on my phone. All right. Approval of bills. 2020 year-end cemetery.
Okay, I'll just go through the cemetery and golf course year-end for December. You should have page 1 through 1 through 3 would be the cemetery. Whoa. If you look at revenue is up by just over $6,000 on the year, so we were fine there with revenue. Our expenditures, we had about $58,000 left in the budget for a total of $64,000. And if you go to page 3, there's a few items that we have to transfer over, so we'll be spending most of that still yet. $25,000 for the improvements at the cemetery. I'm sorry, let me get it up on the screen for you. I've got to remember to do this. Might have Ames will work it next time. I will just show you on the, I'll just point it out here on the screen. So page 3 is where we're at. Okay. In headstone repair and maintenance, there's about $10,000, and that was about $7,500 for donation. Is that correct, Jason?
No, there was 2,500 of that was donation. The other part was for the infant section, the big brick part, and the infant section needs to be restabilized and rebuilt.
So we'll transfer those funds over to 2021. A little bit in supplies and materials, that was part of the donation. And then down below here, the $25,000 is for the improvements. And they're working on something to present to you probably next month on how to use those funds, and we'll get that transferred over. The buildings is just some minor things that we still have to complete with the shed, and $1,000 in machinery and equipment will be office equipment that will transfer over that they did not spend. And a lot of that was because of the with Kevin Thurman leaving and Jason coming on board. Some of those things just didn't get done this year because they were going to just look at it from his perspective and see what he wanted to present for the cemetery improvements moving forward. And then the golf course. I did very well a year, $41,000 over budget, and you were budgeted to bring in $381,000 in revenue. You brought in 41 over that amount, and then also we did spend $41,000 over with $12 left. So we did very good, or I should say overspent by $12 for the year. But then we also had the city bring in the passes for the city employees, which put them over by $5,000.
What was the $41,000 used for?
The $41,000 is under budget, so I'll get to that here. Let's go to the next page here. So why did we go over? That's probably, a lot of it was about 24,000 was payout for the previous position, the previous superintendent. We got about 12,000 here, and then we were also over by 23,000 on the salaries. 10 of that was part-time, over right there, part-time. Let me move this over so you can see here. That 10,000 right there, he was over in part-time because he was understaffed and needed the help. Same with overtime, another 2,500 there. So that's about 35,000 of the 41. He had a pump house issue of 5,000 over, which is getting us close to that 41 mark. And the golf pro contract was over because we were doing well, so that's expected. Everything else was pretty minor, but that's why we were over by 41,000 this year.
So did you say part of that was the previous superintendents?
The payout? Yeah. Yep. Usually when we retire or move on to another job, you have sick pay that you pay out and some other items, that retirement and different things that get paid out at the end of your term. A lot of it has to do with sick pay. Accrued sick pay.
I guess the question is then, in all the previous years where you didn't use sick pay, that money never went to you.
No, it accumulates over time.
Okay, but if it gets to a situation where he's going to retire, it all comes out in 1 year. I mean, is that typical for?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That money's there.
That's how you budget.
You don't, but you expect it, and you budget. So when I have an employee quit, we have to look what their payout is, and we can't fill the position until that salary has paid back that position. That's why we didn't have an employee the rest of the year over there, because we had to pay that back. We couldn't double. So that's why we're here today, why we haven't hired anyone yet, because we were doing that payout. And then we're in the middle of winter, so, yeah. Yep.
A lot of it depends on the employee and how much they use. Some people have zero balance in their sick leave. But in this case, where he sets his own schedule.
I don't recall that we've ever sat down when it was budget time.
No.
And determined, okay, we've got to have at least $6,000 to cover any retirement.
Right. No. You're right.
And some of that would have been, because that was both golf course and cemetery, so some of it was in the cemetery as well, yeah. Yeah.
It just seems strange.
Okay, and then we get into this year. Nothing really to report. This is just the first month of January. Revenue at the cemetery is down for the first month, and our expenses are also down for the first month, and I just think that's just fine. When it comes to the golf course, stop me if you have any questions. We're a little bit under on revenue from last year at the same time, and our expenses are down as well. We probably just haven't purchased. We could have purchased a mower or something last year. I don't know why, but they would have already spent some of their funds last year. Well, never mind. It would be in salaries. If you look at the difference, we have that position that's open. So that's where it's at. That's part of it anyways. Okay. Nothing really to discuss really right now. Any questions on those? I'll go to the bills real quick. Just wanted to point out the Toro purchased the mower of 30,000. If you want to talk about that, or
The $30,000 for Whispering Creek Golf Course, that's a big rough mower that we have agreed upon, have not received it yet. So that's what that is. It's a 2016 with 2,000 hours on it, 2,200 hours on it. So just waiting for decent weather for them to bring it. So that's one of the two mowers that I had budgeted for.
I guess you want to talk about how you're going to pay for the second mower that you're purchasing as well ahead of time, so that way you can go to bill account.
I have found another fairway mower. It's up in Canada. I have $20,000 left out of my budget, but I found one with fairly low hours, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find one for $20,000 or less with fairly low hours. So we had a brush that was purchased through the cemetery. The Parks is going to purchase that from us, and we're going to use part of those funds to pay for that. It'll be $21,900, and that'll be shipping and switching some reels out, so we should be good on that end. The brush that we had was on the Tool Cat, which the Parks traded out with the street shop on that. With the skid loader that we have right now, we would need to purchase an adapter to be able to use it. Parks are able to use it more than what we would be using it for, so we just decided to let them purchase it from us, and we will use those funds somewhere else. So.
What would we use that brush for?
A little bit in the cemetery, around the shop, clubhouse, and then some of the bike paths. Yeah, for snow removal. For snow removal. So.
I just wondered if it was primarily the bike path.
It's probably 50%. Yeah.
What do we do then for snow removal for the bike path?
Here recently, if we need the brush for anything, the Parks has been doing it. We'll do the blowing or the plowing of them, and then I just call Steve and say, I do have a smaller brush for the Kubota mower, but by the time we go out there, it would wear out so fast and it wouldn't be conducive. If we have a small area on the bike paths we need to go out on with that, it would be able to do that. But as long as they're going to take care of the brushing part of it when we have a light skiff.
What it sounds like to me is you guys kill two birds with one stone.
Yep.
I mean, I know Nate's been trying to get another brush.
Yep.
And
That was the reason why we couldn't do the trails over there, was because we didn't have enough equipment. We have the staff. We just didn't have the equipment. And Jason doesn't have any staff, so we were able to help him out. I mean,
I think
yeah.
that's great. I mean, good job.
So, and then I'll have about $1,100 left after that, so.
Okay, and that's it on the bills. There wasn't anything really to point out. Everything's self-explanatory in the bills and the golf course.
Motion to approve the bills? So moved. Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any old business? Okay, move on to new business. Clubhouse report.
Clubhouse report, I'll kind of start at the bottom of my report, which you guys can just stop me and ask questions. There's really not much to talk about other than I've been adjusting the price of the daily rates that were approved at the last meeting on like POS systems. I haven't done anything with our website yet, because I don't know if we're getting a new website yet, and I don't want to put everything new on there and then have a new website come about. The revenue report, which Nathan kind of just went over, the $3,000 that we took in is basically from the City of Mitchell Fund Pass for the monthly payments. And then if we want to, you guys have had the tentative schedule for 2021. I can go over it month by month if you guys want, unless there's questions on what events are what's all going on this summer. It's, like I said, it's tentative. A lot of people aren't even thinking golf yet. So, I mean, there's going to be more come once we get opened up that are going to call me about certain events, and I'll discuss them with Jason here. But these ones that are on the 2021 calendar are kind of the reoccurring events that have been at Lakeview with previous years, and the ones that got canceled last year because of COVID. They need to decide to some of the fundraisers if they're going to have theirs this year and stuff. I can go over March, nothing. That's all weather dependent when we get there, when we open up. April, as of now, which this Class B Classic's been here for about 4 years now. It got canceled last year because the high school season got canceled. That's usually our first event that we have for a high school event. Going into May, I just have on there like the Ladies' Day opening scramble. That's just their Ladies' Day is Wednesday. Men's club stuff begins, their games, pin prizes on the 6th of May. We're the Marchand Cup, which is a thing between Yankton and Mitchell, and remembering Rob Marchand. It goes between Yankton and Mitchell. It's at Yankton. It was supposed to be at Yankton last year, got canceled. Now we're the host for it for Mitchell High School. The girls' invite is on the 14th. Pre-region and region that we were supposed to host last year didn't. They're back on the schedule on the 18th and the 21st. That's Class B. Club match play, Tuesday night league begins. Those are just things that go throughout the summer. ESD girls conference meet. We were supposed to host that last year. We hosted it this year because we missed it last year. Mitchell Christian fundraiser is the day after. That has a question mark on it. They have to get back to me if they're hosting that or not, or if they're changing the date. Going into June, the Bids for Kids, the John Paul II annual fundraiser, which got canceled last year, is on for the 4th. Firefighters, they started a fundraiser 2 years ago. They didn't have it last year because of COVID. They're back on for the 6th. Junior golf would start that first week. That's just on the practice green and range from 9 to noon. Big Dummies Bar and Grill, that's a reoccurring event on the 12th. Junior golf again the Monday and Tuesday. Veterans Fundraiser, which started probably this will be the 4th annual Veterans Fundraiser. That's on the 20th. The junior golf on-course days are 21st and 22nd, and that's again with COVID. If I need to break up the junior camp into 2 different sessions again. Adult Junior Scramble would be an evening thing on the 25th. The reoccurring Lakeview 4-person scrambles on the 27th of June. Into July. 4th of July every year we have that Vermilion Open. That's just 9 holes on the front 9 for tee times from 9 to noon. The South Dakota Egg Rule Leaders golf outing. That's usually about 40-45 golfers on the 9th. The SDGA Junior Tour event. We usually have that the last Tuesday in June. They switched it to July because they don't want something with their Sanford Premier Series golf league that they're starting too. They had conflict with that, so it got moved to Monday. I know that doesn't with Jason. We'll have to figure out a time that we'd want them to start because that's coming right off of a weekend, having it on a Monday. Then that week we host the SDGA Women's Senior, which is 35 to 40 women is all, and that'll just be tee times for all that for the weekend. So there'll still be open play and stuff over that. That's usually the weekend of the city tournament, so tentatively move the city tournament, which the first day would be at Wild Oak on the 24th, second day would be on the 25th at Lakeview. The Lakeview Senior 2-man scramble that got put in 2-3 years ago was on the 20th. NAU golf outing would be the 27th. That got canceled last year. Moving on to August. Member guests usually is the first full weekend in August, which would be the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Pepsi Cola, they're usually the first Wednesday. I'm not sure if they're on the 11th or the 4th. I'll have to talk to the ladies committee which date they'll be at, but I have them tentatively down with the question mark on the 11th. The Emory High School fundraisers, always that second weekend in August, second Saturday in August. Then right away, already in August, we get into the boys' season of Mitchell High School. So we have a duel with Huron. Then we have the Meadowbrook Masters, which are just 20 guys. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with tea times in the afternoon. Then on Sunday, their tea times are in the morning. Innovative Systems, employee golf outing. That would kind of be in conjunction whenever that gets over for the Meadowbrook Masters to start at 2, so that'd be 9 a.m. They usually have 80 to 90 people in that Innovative Systems. Then Stiefel Nicholas, that's just a appreciation outing for Stiefel Nicholas. We have the Marchand Cup for the boys as well in the fall on August 31st. Going into September, over Labor Day, we have the Lakeview 2-person on the 5th. Mitchell Middle School Invite, which is just 9 holes on the front 9 at 1 p.m. Pork Producers Fundraiser on the 15th. Mitchell High School Boys Invite, that's usually 100-plus golfers on the 17th. The MTI Fundraiser, which is always on the third Monday of September, that's on the 20th. That's a 3:30 shotgun on both the front and back. We've hosted a senior finale tournament the last 2 years on that date, reoccurring date. KMIT 27-hole shootout there on the 26th, and then we're on the schedule for the triangular for the Mitchell High School Boys Triangular. I think last year was at Sioux Falls, Washington. The year before was at Brookings, so then it comes back to Mitchell on a rotating schedule, and that's kind of it. Then the Lakeview Wild Oak Ryder Cup on the 3rd of October, and that's kind of the gist and the tentative schedule as we get closer to going with 2021. Questions on that?
That's good. We'll see what the year brings.
Yep. So that's kind of all I really have for the clubhouse report, other than once we get closer to warmer weather, getting the clubhouse opened and start taking memberships and letting people golf.
Any questions on that? Motion to approve the clubhouse report. Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, superintendent's report.
I've told you that in another meeting, but we sent our reels out to get sharpened since we're short staffed right now. There was some extra expense in them because I had one set of reels rebuilt, and there was a bunch of bearings and roller shafts that were out. So that expense was a little higher than what, I haven't gotten the bill yet, but he told me what it is, about what it is. So, so that's coming. Mr. Kenny Skinner has been helping in the shop a lot. That's been a huge help. He knows his way around the shop, and it's been great having him. Bryce Garrett's has been helping out with tree removal and some other stuff when he doesn't have class. So between the two, we've been skating by. I'd say that I said in here half done with equipment maintenance, probably a little closer to 2/3, especially once we get the reels all set and back on mowers. We're kind of on the downhill. We'll still have carts to go through and a bunch of utility vehicles to go through, but we got most of the major stuff done. I've got a little bit of an issue with the west side of the maintenance shop, where the rafters are connected to the sidewall on the south side. We found that that board that they're attached to is a fair amount of rot in it. So I've been trying to get a contractor there to check on that and see what we need to do. Yes. Yep. We've rebuilt the ball picker. There was it was getting quite loose, and we've cobbled it together. I had to get some more parts, and when I called Easy Picker to talk to them about it, and they were amazed that I still had that. So that was kind of amusing. What's that? I'm sure they would. The four-wheel drive Workman for the cemetery, the front differential went out on it. We're hoping that we're able to get parts, and Mitchell Iron is going to make a brass bushing for me. So we're going to cross our fingers because new differential for that's $3,200. So we're going to go that way, and we're just waiting for parts to get in. On trees, we've been very busy on that. We've cut down about 64 trees between pines and poplars, and we're not quite done yet. Out of what we've cut down, though, we've only got about 10 on the ground. Aaron and Scott have been helping on that. Kenny, the street shop has hauled, we had that big pile, street shop has hauled all that out, and now we've made a big pile again, and they're kind of continuing to haul it out. So hopefully by spring, we don't have pile there at all. We're going to have a lot of stumps to take care of, though. About 2 weeks ago, I contacted John Ball from SDSU. He happened to be driving through last week, and it's never good when a guy like that gets excited when you're pulling up to a tree. So we've got a few different diseases we're dealing with. I kind of knew some of it, but he kind of pointed out a couple things that I didn't know. We've got pines don't have much of a chance right now, according to him. So we're better plan on doing a bunch of planting. The Austrian and the Scotch pines, he said, we plan on within 3 years not having any. The ponderosas have somewhat, they have a disease that's going through them also, but they're at least, you can treat them. Those other ones, it's unfeasible to treat them because it's expensive, and it's only 50% chance you're going to stay away from it. So, let's see. He really pushed that we should go on a aggressive tree planting program, which I kind of knew already. Emerald ash borer, I asked him what his thoughts are where it exactly is, and he said if it's not here already, probably within 3 years, which I kind of figured. There's a grant that I'm looking into for trees, so that'll help defray the cost a little bit. And then I'll probably be, next couple of budget cycles, probably just be asking for more and more money and just try to get on a tree planting program. So as far as the cemetery, we've had 8 burials so far this year with only 1 cremation. The building that we did is basically done. We just need to do a ramp up to the overhead door and then some landscaping around it this spring. Shelves and bench in there for making temporary markers is all done. The electric is all done. We put a couple outlets and some lighting just for working in there. Garden ladders went out. I've had a few trickling in. Golf course, there's a software upgrade on the range dispenser that they're going to quit supporting that software here in the next year. So that's something that will be coming up. it was felt that as of right now, just to go with what we've got, and hopefully we get by this year, and then next year we'll have to address it, so. Ordered some fertilizer so far this year, just because the prices are expected to shoot up on the fertilizer, the chemicals not so much, so I'm holding off on that a little bit. The golf cart bids went out. We'll be doing bid openings on the 1st of March. We will have to develop COVID policies here going forward. We don't have to have them right now. Just kind of holding off on that because we don't know what's going to happen. So we'll probably, that next meeting, or next 2 meetings after this one, we'll probably have to kind of start dialing that in a little bit. I had a talk with Southeast Tech turf instructor. I actually went to college with him about their turf program. I was talking to him about how many kids they have coming out and possibility of kind of what quality of kids they have coming out for future for the other position. He asked me to be on a committee, so it'd be like 2 meetings a year. So I said I would do that. Then we have our South Dakota conference coming up. They are still having it in person, so I'll probably at least attend a little bit of that. Other than that, any questions? Like I said, we've been busy with trees and working on equipment, and fortunately I've been in the office a little more than I wanted to be, but.
Okay, any questions? Motion to approve the superintendent report? Second?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You realize you guys have to take turns doing this because there's so few of us here, so you're doing good, spreading it out. I like it. It's here in spirit. I'm just here to break a tie. That's true. All right, request to adopt corporate rates. They're the same. Oh, I'll just go off of this one. I've got them both. Me and Eric have been talking about possibly doing like a corporate rate for companies in the community that have, we were thinking if they have 8 to 10 people that work for them, get signed up by a certain date, give those people a 10% discount. The different rates are down here, but they would have to be signed up by, say, April 15, just to encourage the companies to not necessarily enroll them, but maybe if people feel that they're getting a little bit more of a deal. And so originally I had Eric kind of throw something together. He had on here some other things like for, what was on there? The punch cards and that kind of stuff. I think we want to go after memberships and cart lease program and concentrate on them. I think thought that the punch cards maybe wasn't really where we want to push this, more after these.
And more came, I mean, I think in Danvers, that's where this was back, and they used to do, I think, business, I don't think they ever adopted it. They used to just do corporate rates for a few businesses before, but like, it got brought up at a small meeting. We had Innovative Systems had health insurance that they basically got a membership towards Great Life through their health insurance for nothing, through their insurance. And now Innovative Systems and a few of those other companies are going off the insurance that covers it, getting new insurance that doesn't cover their golf and fitness, something towards, I don't know, bigger businesses, as long as they have so many employees, to be able to get an innovative systems managed point right there next to each other. I mean, I don't know where you stop or finish with how many different types of businesses you can go to do this, but I don't know if it,
Does a couple count as two or just one membership?
that's, what do you mean?
Well, me and my wife joined with 8 other people from us, or.
That's a tough one too, and then we'd have to check, because I know when the city does their, payroll deduct and they do their city employees, a couple's membership doesn't have to be, it can be the kid and the dad as a couple's membership. I know that's how the city does it, and I've asked that question previous years to City Hall or to somebody, and they just say when they sign up, it's couples, and they don't have to be.
But you don't have to have so many of those.
What's that?
You're asking these corporates to come up with 8 to 10.
I guess what I would say is, like if somebody is a couple or a family, it wouldn't, if it's a couple, it doesn't count as two for this program, it would just be one.
One, or it'd be the employee.
Yeah, just the employee. They would get the discount for that, but it would only count as one towards the 8 or 10, whatever we would decide.
I mean, it would take some doing in the spring, getting this sheet or whatever sheet we devise up out to businesses in March, email them over to the HR director, human resource director at each company so they can pass it along to their employees and,
Might as well do it right now.
well, yeah, that's why we're, yeah.
No, I mean,
If we decide
wait for
to,
approval on this, or
Yeah.
yeah, to adopt it.
would this have any effect on fund balance?
Me and Jason talked a little bit about that too, if we wanted to incorporate it with the Fund Pass too.
No, I'm talking about if you don't, are you going to lose on the fund balance side because of this?
I think that the Fund Pass, you got a bigger discount with more things, so I don't think so,
I
but,
don't know, I mean,
yeah.
ultimately, I think it needs to be looked at to
Yep.
make sure that you're not.
But I think if we are doing this specifically for the golf course, and I mean, they're basically on the Fund Pass rates, they're basically getting 10% off at the golf course, 10% off at the rec center. So if they do want the rec center side of it as well, they're just gonna go to the City Mitchell Fund Pass. But if they're not workout gurus or strictly golfers and they want to do something that's an incentive to join, get a little discount if they're an employee at a bigger business here, then I think they go towards the business side of it instead of doing the City of Mitchell Fund Pass. If they're gonna be the rec center membership, they're not gonna do this business thing and then go to the rec center and join there. I think they're gonna go to the City of Mitchell Fund Pass, so I don't think we lose out. 15.
The Fund Pass is a 15% discount. And I did talk to Kevin, and he actually, DeVries from the rec center, he actually does do a 10% on kind of a corporate thing also. So it's not like, so.
Sounds like the timing's right to do this. You need a motion to, adopt
Are
this?
you happy with, are you guys happy with it, the way it is?
I think so. I mean,
Just a motion, also clarify the number.
So.
yeah, oh, yeah, we would need to decide on,
But they get the 10% once they get.
So I would, if I send this out to some businesses, I would ask the HR person at that business to have them distribute it to their employees, have them email them back or contact HR at that business and say, we're gonna do this. And they can set up payroll deduct through that business and they send us a check each month for the payroll deduct. Or if they have 14 members signed up, the HR person at that business lets me know, hey, we got 14 people signed up, these are the people, I'll have a list of it, so when they come through the golf course, I can check them off as they pay. And who knows, say they're gonna sign up at that business, and then they never come out to the golf course and sign up, I don't know how to necessarily regulate that, but.
I can see somebody come in and say, I want that 10%, I'm from Innovative.
Mhm.
Well, then they never get 10 people or 8 people
double-edged sword, I mean.
Well, and it would be, hopefully it would just be a one-year thing that they get skirt under that, because then the next year we're gonna be, okay, you need to be committed here.
Does Kevin have a minimum number of people for a business?
I think it's 10, yep.
I think that's a reasonable
Yeah.
number.
I think Park and Rec, I mean, they've always had kind of an company type. Corporate system. And I don't believe, unless you can clarify me, I don't believe they've ever had a problem with that.
No, they have to sign up through the HR of their work. They can't come into the rec center and say, I want to be part of this.
Do they do payroll deducted, or do they pay in full? Like, do they do payroll deducted their business, and then the business
And
pays?
this, yep, give them the check, yep. Yep, if they come to the rec center and they say, I'm a Trail King employee, Chris would tell them, you have to go to the HR department at Trail King to sign up. Trail King will each month send a check to the rec center that covers their employees.
Yeah,
That way you don't have somebody coming in that really doesn't work.
sounds like it's, copy it.
Let me clarify, the Fun Pass is 25% off, and then the, our corporate rate is 15% off.
I think that's a good place to start.
I think you just mirror what Angel just said. Yep. With these rates, go that route. If that's what you want to do, then I make a motion to approve these rates this morning.
Angel, do you know,
With 10 people.
With 10 people.
does like Chris or Kevin have a list of the companies that they send it to? Sure they
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do.
I can talk to Chris.
Okay, Brian made the motion, is there a second?
Want to go 10 people or 8?
10.
He made it as 10.
I make a motion for 10.
They gotta do this before the 15th of April?
Yep, just like on the sheet right here, but.
I guess it should be April 5th, I mean, depending on too when we get open. There's been years we haven't gotten open till, but I mean, if we send it out early enough here in February or first day of March, then they got enough time to kind of prepare, so.
Say that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Motion to move into executive session. Second? Yeah, the meeting will be done at the conclusion of the executive session.
Yep.
Thanks, Angel.
Thank you.
So we will move into